Chuck Loveland, bass player for Group Therapy Band, recording us right here. We're having a little fun tonight. This is Rick. I'm the harmonica rhythm player for the Group Therapy Band out of Dundee, Michigan. And I want to introduce you to my neighbor, my friend, Mr. Kerry Ford. Say hello, Kerry.
Good day.
Good day, Kerry. A good day, right? There you go.
Awesome.
So the reason I'm doing this short little video here is because this is the harmonica amp, about 129 bucks. I've been using for a couple decades, and it's been fun. It did the job. But my friend, my neighbor, he's an engineer. He's our guitar tech. He's worked on all of our equipment. He's quite a talented guy. But he also builds amps. Probably in the spring that we got together, and I said, Kerry, I said, this amp is okay. It's a Honer. It did well for $1.25. It's lasted me a long time. It's reliable. I'd love a new amp. 2 days later, this guy sends me a schematic in the mail and says, what do you think? Well, I can't read schematics. And so I guess the bottom line is Kerry worked for a couple weeks and came over one night with his amp that he built, the first amp, number 1 or 2, I forgot which one.
It's 4.
The 4? Oh, the 4th, he's bragging now. And he brought his amp over with a Frankenstein box of tubes from America, tubes from Germany, tubes from the Pacific Rim. And we sat down and we had a couple of adult beverages.
Tubes from Russia.
Tubes from Russia. And we played with different sounds. He asked me great questions. What do I want to sound like? And of course I said I want to sound better. He said I can help you with that. And we tried all different tube combinations, and he came up with a really cool plan. And I don't know, about 3 months later, 4 months later, he started sending me pictures of woods and speakers and electronical components, and he's the engineer. I'm a sales guy. I don't know shit from engineering. But anyway, we're going to cut here in a second. We're going to break to the next one, but this is the one I've been playing for about 2 decades. It's been really good. And I want to bring on the amp that Kerry Ford, my friend and neighbor, built for me based on my input and his experience. When you said you could build me an amp, I pretty much gave you carte blanche, right? On what to build, how to build it.
When you coerced me into building you an amp.
I coerced you into building an amp. So tell me, I mean, how did you start with this thing? You start with a schematic, right? I saw that.
Well, the first thing I did is I went and joined several harp forums, because I don't play harp. I don't know what's important to a harp player, other than your initial things you told me.
Right.
That you wanted it portable, you didn't want something big and bulky, and you wanted to sound good. And so I got on the forums and I listened to what was important to all the other harp players. And from that I started putting the design together. Some of the more important things were the type of speaker you use.
Sure.
The frequency range you wanted to work within to fit a harmonica, as opposed to a guitar, which has a much wider range and a lot higher range.
Based on the test that we did that night over here with an adult beverage, trying different tubes out from all over the world, right?
Exactly.
Okay, go on.
And from that, it was easy to come up with the design.
Easy for you.
Tube amplification is not rocket science. It is really quite simple compared to silicon rectifiers, silicon diodes, and transistors, and what have you. And the sound is much richer. So from there, things are very standardized in the different stages of it. All I have to do is get the right filtering to match your harmonica.
But you started with the electronics, not the aesthetic part of it, right? You started with the basics.
Yes, I did. I designed the electronics first. And I have to admit that when I started, after I did the electronics,
Right.
and I started shopping for the materials to make the container, I walked into a flea market once and I found a piece of English walnut, and I looked at it and I fell in love with it. And I got my tape measure out. I'm a bit geeky, I always have a tape measure.
You're an engineer.
I fell in love with it. It was a beautiful grain, and it was a very contrasting grain. It has a lot of texture and richness to it. I needed a little more depth in the cabinet, so I knew I had to trim the edges with another wood besides the English walnut.
And you chose?
I chose mahogany.
So I got English walnut as the base and mahogany as the trim.
That is correct.
Okay. Kerry said, have you ever used a delay pedal or a different stomp pedal with your harmonicas, your mic, and your the old Hohner amp that I showed you? And I said, no. He said, well, I'd like to add a foot pedal. And we talked at great length about how to get a foot pedal. And it started off with having a foot pedal that would come out of the amp on a cord, and then when I was done, I would roll it up, put it back in.
Right.
So
Talked about having a pull-out, like, drawer.
Right.
So it was there.
So when he finally sent me this preliminary design, he's got the box built, and I go, what the heck is that hole in the box? So we'll talk about that hole in the box in a minute, but you can see that right. So once again, this is a beautiful amp. I forgot to ask you, what kind of speaker we have in here?
You're using a Weber speaker.
A Weber? Why?
Yes. Weber is well known for amplification speakers. They're on the high end for cost, but they're also on the high end for quality.
You get what you pay for, right?
That's right. And they were the ones who, some of the things we want is a lot of richness and depth of tone for a harmonica.
Okay.
And we don't want to accentuate the highs because that's where you get feedback.
Gotcha. Perfect choice on speaker. I know it sounds awesome.
And the Weber also, it can sell me I can order it specifically with a smooth cone. Smooth cone does better giving you those lower notes and cutting out the highs. And they also offer different dust covers for the top of it that do the same thing. Cut out the over highs that are contributing to feedback.
Right.
Which is the enemy of harmonica players. And so I was able to specially order a speaker that fit the need.
Well, and that's why harmonica players don't build harmonica amps. On the control panel right here, is that visible for you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I'm going to try to hold it as steady as possible. I'm going to unplug this for a second, put it on standby. And I've seen the internal schematic for this, so I had no idea what this was going to look like. And when Kerry finally brought it over sight unseen, so I couldn't get my money back, right? I already paid him, right? Give me a little understanding of what you did on the control panel.
Well, we just took and cut a very thin sheet, less than 1/8 of an inch thick, about 1/16 of an inch thick, of cherry.
So I've got three types of wood, bass player, 3 types of wood here, right?
Yeah,
I've got English
you're up
walnut,
to 3.
mahogany, okay.
And this is cherry. And then we CNC cut out all the graphics on it before we finished it.
What you didn't do on your first 4 amps, you were hand carving those or something, weren't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
we did that all by hand.
So this is a new machine for your new company.
Yep.
So let's go from left to right. Obviously, I've got an off, a standby. It's a tube amp. It's a wonderful tube amp. It's powerful as hell. And then I got play. So pretty simple. I really love the bulb. What's this called? This glass?
It's a jewel fixture.
Jewel.
Yeah.
Okay, jewel bulb.
And we went with blue just because we were blue here.
And we have the blue in the front.
And we have blue in front, speakers blue from the back. And so we chose blue highlighting on the knobs too, just to make a theme.
So briefly, I've got my on-off standby, my blue, beautiful color jewel knob. He's called this Harp Heaven. which is
from
his own
left to
name.
right on these knobs,
It does say give me a little understanding what they do.
We went with very basic controls. You literally have a tone, a loudness,
It used to be volume, now it's called loud.
yeah, loudness. And then we have reverb and we have a level and a dwell. Level being the amount of reverb and
So,
dwell being.
You've seen the front of the amp. I can't describe how beautiful, even the bottom plate, the way the grain matches all the way around. It's just an absolute beautiful amp. What we didn't talk about on the top of the amp, we talked about the on-off button, the tone controls, and the volume. This is what we touched on earlier. You said, I'd like to get you a pedal that would give you some delay on your harmonica, give you a little bit more of that sound that you liked. And you chose not to put a pedal in the back with a slide-out board or a cable, but you cut this right into the top.
Yeah.
How'd you get that idea?
Well, the first hint to me was you wanted your controls on the top.
Absolutely.
When I was doing the interview with you, saying, what do you want in an amp?
Right.
And I'm thinking, okay, if he needs to make adjustments to the delay, it's on the floor, he's got to bend over to do that. Why not put them up here with the other controls? It just made a
And
lot of
this
sense.
pedal will allow me to do what?
It gives you a virtual echo.
Okay.
And I actually shopped around quite a long time to find the right pedal for this amp. And I'm going to plug for somebody else. This is made by the Lone Wolf Blues Company. Built specifically for a harmonica. It would have taken me probably a couple years to come up with a design that is built for harmonica to give all the tonal qualities you really need and the right filtering for the frequencies of a harmonica and that, and it was much better to buy something already built and
Yeah.
incorporate it into this.
I'll tell you, standing on stage, whether we're jamming tonight, practicing, right, Chuck? Or we're out playing a live gig or a wedding, it's nice to look straight down, just like you would at your foot pedal right there, right? And know what you're looking at,
It's on
not
front
have
of
to
the
look
amp,
at. We got a little story about that. You've seen the top plate. What you see on camera, I guarantee you, doesn't compare to looking at it right
So,
here.
Kerry,
It's phenomenal. Tell us a little bit about the tags. You've got one in the front that says Ford Creations. I think that's all it says up front.
That's
right?
all one in front says.
What's the one in the back state?
The one in the back has Ford Creations and has a model and serial number, and also the statement about it being your property. They're solid copper. We chose that because over time you will get a patina as it tarnishes, and then when you polish it off, it will fill in the lettering with that tarnish, and then it'll stand out more. So,
Cool.
it just,
Yeah, it's
Little
already
touch.
it's already looking phenomenal.
yep. At this point, Baltic birch for the back and supply.
Wait. That's 4 types of wood.
That's 4 types.
So we've got English walnut
Yep.
for the main base. We've got mahogany for the trim.
Yep.
We've got maple.
No, cherry.
That's what I said. Cherry for the control panel, and we got what back here?
Baltic birch. Like it's better.
It's worth every penny. I
A
think.
lot of the tonal qualities you get out of an amplifier are based on the speaker and the output transformer.
Right.
And you lose that richness out of the speaker once you go to an XLR out. You take the tone adjustments that speaker is making out of the equation.
Gotcha.
And so you will always get a better sound by miking.
Which we've been doing tonight,
Right,
right? Here,
Chuck,
Polly
this is
Dowse,
their,
keyboard player, vocalist for the Group Therapy and Friends band. You just saw my little amateurish but informative interview with Kerry Ford on building this amp. What are your thoughts on the amp that he built?
Well, the first thing I noticed about it was that there is almost like a limiter capability to it, almost like a compression. And it's a natural compression. It doesn't sound phony at all, because a lot of times when I'd be playing a certain passages where Rick would be playing his harp through his normal microphone and through like the PA and that, you'd hear a lot of frequencies that would almost make a dog howl. I mean, they were just like, ugh, you know. Whereas, and I think a lot of it has to do with the, whatever he did with the master volume and how the adjustments are on this,
Agree.
coupled with his badass microphone that he's got, that's just for the harp.
My Woody.
Yeah, and that is fantastic because there are all those frequencies that I was finding that would like overpower your ears just for certain, when he plays certain notes during a certain measure, you'd hear it kind of going right into your station tube and tearing it out. But now it doesn't. It like gates off and it sounds uniformly, even as far as frequencies when you're playing high notes, low notes, or whatever, some of the trills you do on a harmonica, and they all sound even, and they're coming through really smooth now.
So, I'll get you to clarify this if I'm right or wrong, but what I think I hear Paulie saying is I'm a much better harmonica player now.
Yeah, okay. So
The rest of the band laughing in the background. Listen, Kerry Ford has worked on just about every piece of equipment that you see in this basement, from whether it's drums don't need any work there with the R. But anything else you want to close on?
Kerry's the man. Kerry's awesome.
Yeah.
Kerry's awesome. I have a really fine Limbic bass named BJ. And
What's BJ stand for,
He
Paulie?
dressed her up, Barbara Jean.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Barbara Jean, or else the next best thing you can do with a fine piece of wood, BJ. But he made her so sweet. It's like the finest instrument I've laid my hands on, and I have him to thank for it. So.
All right, we're gonna go back to jamming. The group therapy band's here. Thank you so much for listening in. Kerry Ford, my neighbor, my engineer, our friend, our guitar tech, our electronic guru. I just wanted to give him some accolades on building me from scratch and from here, which there's nothing here in my head, this beautiful harp amp. You guys, let's go. Little Kerry here. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Chuck, for filming.